So let's get into the NBA. Let's start with Joel Embiid. So we saw the quotes come out Friday, him holding court and saying basically, I've done, to the extent, he said, I've done way too much for this effing city to be going through what I'm going through. And everyone's saying, well, this, that, listing out, you've battled through injuries, which he has. He literally played in the playoffs with a bad knee and going through Bell's palsy. Like, absurd. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going, well, you've never made it past the second round. What he was pointing to was Marcus Hayes, who's a writer, longtime writer in Philly, alluded to his dead brother in an article. And was the excerpt, which was taken out.
It was taken out eventually.
So I'm going to read it for anyone that may not want to hear it. But it was, quote, Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son, Arthur, as a major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great, to leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother, who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76er, end quote. So that's why he said, I've done way too much for this city. Basically saying, keep my dead brother's name out of your mouth. Like, you can say I suck.
Sure.
You can say I'm out of shape. You can say I'm not a good player, but you don't talk about my family. Completely agree. Mm-hmm. You go to Saturday night, and he got into a quote-unquote physical altercation, basically, and the reports from David Aldridge, who is an institution of basketball, there was post-game, Embiid didn't play. They're talking to Tyrese Maxey. Marcus Hayes was there. Joel Embiid sought him out. They went back and forth for like 90 to 20 seconds. He shoved Marcus Hayes in the shoulder. Hayes did not respond. And a lot of people are going, to me, and there was reports of him punching him in the face. Look, I don't blame Joel Embiid for getting this mad at that guy, Marcus Hayes. Especially some of the excerpts of like older articles I was reading of him. There's being critical, which I am all the time, with teams here in Boston, which we both are. There is a line that you cross at certain points, certainly talking about A, his son, B, his dead brother. That crossed that line, no problem. You know me, man. You F around, you find out at certain points. Joel Embiid shoved him. Didn't sound like he was hurt. It wasn't like people saying assault, just an altercation. Fit here for Embiid. I'm with him on this one.
Look, I was with him until the physical altercation part.
Interesting. Okay.
My thing is this. This dude apologized. He took it out of the article. It didn't belong in there to begin with. This guy needs to be checked from his employer. Like, what's going on? Like, this guy, I mean,
that's
as
on
you
the
said,
editor to
that's
let
what
it be
I'm
in the
saying.
article.
He's wrote about his family before. I'm sure Embiid checked him then. And then even in this article, which you just read, it had nothing to do with anything. Like, I think this guy has it out for Joel Embiid.
Oh, he does. You read his older articles.
Clearly,
he
right?
does.
So what needs to happen is, and we deal with this, luckily, I mean, I feel like our employer is on top of things like this, but this should have been checked from multiple people before Joel Embiid had to get physical. I just disagree with that. I think at the end of the day, you could go up, you could have a verbal altercation if you want, but putting your hands on someone, I'm never going to green light that, right? Especially Joel Embiid to some puny little writer, please. But my bigger point is the paper needs to be on top of this guy. The 76ers need to be on top of this guy. Hey, what are you doing, man? You're talking about this guy's family, blah, blah, blah. Stop it. Tell him to stop. If he keeps doing it, fire his ass. Like, or suspend him. Do whatever you got to do. It should have never got to this. It put Joel Embiid in a tight spot where now I'm with him all the way up into that point. When you put your hands on someone for words, you lose me there. You're Joel Embiid. You're 7 foot 700 pounds. Like, come on, bro. Like, relax. So shoving the guy in his shoulder or whatever you said he did.
Shoved him in the shoulder.
I mean, you could have ended this guy's shoulder. Like, this is a giant. So I'm not with Embiid to that point. I don't think it needs to go to that point. But this guy should have been checked long ago. It shouldn't even have got to Joel Embiid.
He should not have been allowed in the arena.
Right.
And if anything, Joel sought him out. They spoke for 2 minutes. So I'm assuming also over the course of that 2 minutes of him going, listen, man, don't put my dead brother in there. I'm not sure how Marcus Hayes was responding and how it was being received on his end.
I mean, clearly it wasn't good.
I understand where Joel Embiid's coming from, that he was pissed off enough that he did shove him.
Sure.
Like, I honestly do. Because if you're not going to listen to me, if you're going to continue to take shots at my family, guess what? F around, find out in that way. And like, yes, I'm not, if you punched him in the face, I'd be like, dude, you do not do that.
Right.
Especially that guy's older. Joel Embiid, as you said, 7 foot.
Yeah, bro.
Obviously, like
you
huge
just don't
dude.
need to do it.
I understand that he can get that mad, and as you saw and heard it from, he said, you can say I suck, you can talk bad about me, my game on the floor, whatever you want to say. You don't talk about my family. I see why I got to that point. There should have been something by the 76ers, and this is where they should have set them up. Hey, we're going to do a phone call. Called him out of the press. He wasn't there. Talked to him on the phone. Joel's not playing in games, so literally he could take the time like while game's going on to start. Call him up. This is where it gets too far. 76ers, NBA should have been better with security. And I'm surprised no one stepped in to intervene too, because you see him going back at it. Hey, just leave. Get out of the locker room to Hayes and make sure Joel Embiid cools down.
Listen, the same way the 76ers are trying to protect his health, right?
Yeah.
By not having him play and sitting and all this.
Yeah.
You got to protect. It can't just be one-sided, bro. Like, you got to protect your players from everything. This guy's a moron. He's been taking shots. It's clearly personal. I don't know what the hell his problem is with Joel Embiid. It's clearly personal. You got to nip this stuff in the bud. If it gets to the level that it got at, where we are talking about it on this show, about Joel Embiid being in a physical altercation with some dweeb who has it out for him, writing stories about him, it's already gone too far. And it means the 76ers, the NBA, and whoever this dweeb works for all fumbled. All of them. They all screwed it up.
So that was, at what points, timestamps, I don't know. While this is happening, the clips are coming out from Toronto. Drake was on the Raptors broadcast.
Oh, God.
It was Vince Carter night. Banner raised for VC. First player to have his number retired in Raptors franchise history. They're bringing up DeMar DeRozan. And Drake goes, if you ever put up a DeMar DeRozan banner, I'll pull that thing down myself.
Oh, shut up.
Obviously, Drake doesn't like DeMar DeRozan because DeMar DeRozan's from LA. Meant a lot to the city of Toronto. And Drake and Kendrick Lamar obviously have their rap beef, where Drake was absolutely bodied every single step of the way.
Yes.
Drake, stop, bro. Like, DeMar means so much to that franchise. Right. If his number's retired, I wouldn't be shocked. You ever put that banner, I'll pull that thing down myself. Why? Why should it not be up there? Because you picked a fight that you could not own up to. You got owned, and then you're mad that a guy from LA, where obviously Toronto means a lot to him, backed up another guy from LA. Like, why? He's supposed to pick Toronto because of you? Just stop. And there was a clip of Drake after the final buzzer. If it was louder than a whisper, I'd be surprised. But like looking at DeMar, and the lip reader said what he said. He was like, "F out of here," and he said another word I'm not going to say.
Yeah, he was mean mugging him the whole game.
And but he made sure to say it at the level that there's no chance he would have been hurt.
Of course. Listen, bro. I think everything you said was well said. You pretty much covered every base. There's not much more for me to add. I'll just piggyback. Like you said, DeMar DeRozan means a lot to that franchise and the history of that franchise. I agree. I think he means more to L.A. And what did the guy really do? I mean, he just repped where he's from.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure him and Kendrick have a great relationship. So he got on stage and danced with every other NBA player from LA who was there, and every other hip hop band from LA who was there at the concert. Drake, man, like, I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough, and this is the problem.
And again, he said that in a setting where DeMar DeRozan could not hear him. DeMar's not in the game. He's playing.
Exactly.
Like, there's no chance he actually hears him.
No.
And again, he does this where DeMar doesn't know about it until after the game. And he was asked, he was like, he's going to have a long way to climb. Tell him good luck, which I loved.
It's also funny, too. Yeah, he handled it great. It's also funny, too, that, people around Drake claims that, well, the beef didn't really bother him.
He's still catching L's, man.
He's still the number one stream. It clearly bothers him. Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah.